pretty involved, it seemed like.
Nothing,
Not really.
like I said, no, I've got to look back at it to confirm, but nothing. I didn't see anything too crazy on there. And it's also, I think both of her setups are on there. I think both the full band and the acoustic. The acoustic one is much simpler because it's literally her and two other girls playing acoustic guitars.
Seemed like a reasonable price for.
We thought so for at the Park Theater Advisory Board. So
All right, thank you, Joe.
thank you.
Okay, any other business for the Parks and Rec Committee? Okay, meeting adjourned.
Did you call? No, not your committee. The committee
We did.
gets 12.
We did.
Yeah. That's what
It is 7 o'clock. We will call to order this regularly scheduled meeting of the McMinnville City Board of Mayor and Aldermen. The first item on the agenda is roll call.
Deidre Dunlap,
Present.
Stacy Harvey,
Present.
Steve Harvey,
Here.
Rachel Kirby.
Here.
Carrie Morton. Here. Mayor Chastain,
Here.
Sally Brock's absent.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is consideration of minutes. Each member of the board should have received those in their agenda packets. If there be no requests for additions, corrections, or deletions, I'll entertain a motion to dispense with their reading and approve them as read.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Deidre Dunlap,
Second.
second by Mr. Steve Harvey. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Item 3 is recognition of visitors. Anyone who wishes to address the board can step to the podium and state their name for the record. Hearing none, we'll move on to item 4, recognition of employees. We have several department heads here this evening. If anyone wishes to give employees recognition, come on up.
There's a couple of different things we wanted to recognize our department and the fire department, and Officer Mara, that he's put in a lot of work into the challenges that we have, the things that we do, like the Yellow Dot program and the child passenger seat, things that we do throughout the community. And I'm gonna let him talk about the. He submitted all this stuff. They do the work and he submitted all the paperwork, which puts our department up against, all departments in the state in School War 21. And he's real good at explaining it. He did all the work. So I'm gonna let him speak to that.
So Tennessee Highway Safety Office years ago had come up with a competition against agencies to try to better their highways. So they wanted to see more policies come into play that help protect the citizens that were driving. More training for the officers for like DUIs, seatbelts, a bunch of different things like radar. just to try to get the roads safer. And so they formed this competition. And so last year we submitted what we are doing and we got second place. So there you go. And this is the original.
Yeah.
Lot of difference.
Oh,
This is our second, one. We had first year before, but.
They did a new format. So, so we're learning. I think we'll get first place next year. You know. So the other thing that we're doing behind the scenes, and you guys probably are well aware of it, is that we do car seat checks. And so back in 2015, we had nobody that was a technician that could actually check a car seat. And because of that, we started getting officers trained to do that. The fire department was on board with it. And so for the last several years, we've been doing this and we've been growing. We grew so much, we actually had to form a coalition. And so the coalition consists of the fire department, the sheriff's department, and Tennessee Highway Patrol, as well as us. And so because of that, last year we submitted for all of our data that we've done car seats with. And surprisingly, we found out that. No, you'll like this, Mr. Nolan. In the comparison to 2021, we had an increase of 145% of car seats checks. And from that, we had distributed over 400 car seats to children that were in need of them. And then we had 100% improvement in the corrections of car seats that went through our checkpoints that we had done. And so we won the fitting station of the year for last year. We got it this year, but it's for last year's efforts. And I think I wanted to just say one more thing, you know, these numbers are impressive, but we actually had someone that came out here. And he had a child that was like 5 or 6 years old. And he didn't have the child with him. He was supposed to be doing an exchange with baby mom. So he had the child, but he came to me and was complaining that his child was complaining about being in that car seat because it wasn't comfortable. And so he gave me his height, weight, and age, and found out that he was in the wrong car seat. He was in a forward-facing harness car seat, and he was almost 6 years old. He was too heavy for it. And so luckily, the chief had approved us to have car seats in our cars. And so we had a booster seat right there. If we didn't have one, he probably never would have gotten one because he was ready to leave. So we got him a booster seat. And a couple weeks later, they were involved in a crash. That's what they were, a crash. And so they were both transported to the ER and found out that if he had been in that forward-facing harness, he would have broken his clavicle and some other things as well. So
And another program that they've been doing is the Yellow Dot program. And there was I had a praise, I guess, yesterday, about that K-Star. I think she had signed up for the Yellow Dot program and had that affixed. And apparently she had a seizure. And they found her in her vehicle at the administration building. And she actually had 2 seizures. And they used that information on the Yellow Dot to know that she'd had seizures and all that stuff. So it's been a really great program that
yeah,
he works real hard on.
well, and it's a big team, and Chief, I appreciate your help and yours as well. Because
They all are.
we never had to go forward with this at all. But
Yeah.
like I said, the numbers, yeah.
Yep.
So we love doing it. So I just want to bring that to your attention.
thank
Okay.
you all.
Good job. Thanks.
Anybody else? Hearing none, we'll move on to item 5, communications. There are none. Item 6 is petitions. There are none. Item 7 is unfinished business. Does any member of the board have any unfinished business this evening? Hearing none, we'll move to item 8, new business. There are several items under new business that all involve the appointment of members to various boards in the community whose terms are expiring. The first 2 items, 8A and 8B, are for Jerry Williamson's term on the Board of Zoning Appeals and for the Planning Commission. Mr. Williamson has served a number of years in these capacities and brings a lot of insightful knowledge and experience Also, the chair of both of these, Mr. David Martella, recently resigned, and that leaves quite a hole to fill on these boards. So these are also some of the boards that we spoke about with David Baird probably about 2 years ago, where the members have very specific criteria they have to meet to sit on these. And I feel at this point in time, and given Mr. Martella's absence, it would be very difficult to replace somebody like Jerry with all the knowledge and experience that he has. And I would like the board to consider reappointing him for another term to both of these.
I would like to appoint him to nominate him to be appointed to these boards. His historical knowledge and his overall knowledge as a developer, and like I said, the historical viewpoint that he brings to the board is priceless.
I second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve item A and B. Any further questions or discussion?
Is Mr. Martell's time up in December also, or is he already resigned?
He already resigned and is no longer.
Are they looking for someone to replace him currently?
Has Mr. Martella's seats already been filled?
Yes,
Okay,
yes, we have a full board.
okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions, concerns? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote on these.
Carrie Morton,
Yes.
Rachel Kirby,
Yes.
Stacy Harvey,
Aye.
Deidre Dunlap,
Aye.
Steve Harvey,
Yes.
Mayor Chastain.
Aye, motions pass. Item C is for my term on the Board of Public Utilities that runs out in November. A correction on this, this is for a 1-year term, not a 4-year term. The aldermanic or city board representatives only serve a year at a time. Historically, they have done 2 at a time, and I would appreciate being reappointed on this, given that we're in the middle of a number of things, namely finding a replacement for a CEO to replace Mr. Rodney Boyd. And that has already been posted all around the state in a number of publications and websites. And we will start taking applications and begin interviews for that later in the fall. But I would be open to appointing somebody else on the board if that's the wishes.
I move to reappoint you.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments on that reappointment? 1 year.
Did you spell?
I mean, I did 2 like 4 years
Right.
ago. But yeah, it was last fall. We'll call for the vote.
Stacy Harvey,
Aye.
Deidre Dunlap,
Aye.
Rachel Kirby,
Yes.
Carrie Morton,
Yes.
Steve Harvey,
Yes.
Mayor Chastain.
I abstain. Item D is for Lester Cowell, who is the chairman of the Alcoholic Beverage Board. Do you want to get some input on him and
I have. that
Mr.
board.
Hoover?
Lester is our oldest individual on the board, so he knows all the laws. He knows everyone that has violated. He knows the procedures. I would say we need to keep him because he's one of the last ones we have that has that knowledge. And also, in that except, Freddie Hoover is on there also. It's easy because these members can come when I ask them to. So with them devoting their time, they can just, like Freddie's across the street, he can just come over at 12 o'clock. And Lester, he's retired, so he can come over. I don't think we're gonna find anybody that can just drop up a hat, come to a meeting. So I would like to keep them, but if you have any input, I would appreciate it.
I move to reappoint Lester and Freddie.
I second it.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to reappoint Mr. Lester Cowell and Mr. Freddie Hoover to 2-year terms on the Alcoholic Beverage Boards. We can do these together since they were, Yeah.
Okay.
we'll call for the vote.
Rachel Kirby,
Yes.
Steve Harvey,
Yes.
Stacy Harvey.
Aye.
Carrie Morton,
Yes.
Deidre Dunlap,
Aye.
Mayor Chastain.
Aye, motion passes. Item 8F is Earl Barr's term to the McMinnville Housing Authority, which runs out in December. I don't mind deferring this to a later date, given that it's only August, and I have not had a chance to speak to either him or the employees at the Housing Authority about where they stand with their board. So if there's no objections by this board, we can just defer that one until a later date. Item 9 is resolutions. Item 9A is resolution number 2216, a resolution to authorize the city of McMinnville to accept the Vermont Systems quote for Parks and Recreation software in the amount of $19,730, and to authorize the city administrator to issue the necessary purchase order on behalf of the city and to express the time when the resolution becomes effective. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Have a motion by Mr. Stacy Harvey,
Second.
second by Mr. Steve Harvey. Justin, you want to come up and give some context or background on this?
Sure. Thank you. So yeah, this is the software that I've spoke about. Again, we've got a system right now that's functioning and working. We just don't have any updates. So this would get us to the newest version. We would have total support if we needed to call and had an issue. As I mentioned before, this will give us an opportunity to do online registrations, online reservations. It will also be utilized. One thing that Samantha and I've worked on, it'll be utilized at our concessions, which will cut down on all of our processing fees that we pay. So it will essentially almost pay for itself in the end, because we pay a lot of processing fees using other softwares. So.
And it's in the budget.
Yes.
Any questions or further discussion for Mr. Scott
Is this the second reading on this?
of this? No, it's only one.
Yeah.
I guess it was committee last time, but I'm thinking, yes.
Hearing no questions or comments, we'll call for the vote.
Stacy Harvey,
Aye.
Steve Harvey,
Yes.
Carrie Morton.
Yes.
Rachel Kirby,
Yes.
Deidre Dunlap,
Aye.
Mayor Chastain.
Aye, motion passes. Item 9B is resolution number 2217, a resolution of the city of McMinnville, Mayor, Board, and Alderman establishing a fine schedule for businesses selling alcohol to minors and to set the date for this resolution to become effective. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Stacy Harvey,
Second.
second by Ms. Deidre Dunlap. Stacy, you want to give some context on this?
Yes, I would like to. I sat in on my first beer board meeting where we had some violators. And it was my opinion that the people in the room could barely contain their excitement over $250 and nothing. And so it just seemed to me, I believe the fine schedule was $250 or. I believe that's the way it was. First offense, $250 or, and I just felt like it was not consequential enough. So I asked the board to revisit that and to, instead of or, it'd be an and. So what the board decided to do was for the first offense, it was $500, I believe $500. And basically that was the fine. The second offense is a higher fine and a 30-day suspension of their license, because unless we suspend their privilege, there's no incentive to crack down on that. And the third offense was a higher fine and a longer suspension of the privilege. The fourth offense was the termination of license for a year. And I just felt like we didn't have any teeth. We had a board, we had people volunteering their time to come in. We were bringing people in, we were talking about it, and there was absolutely no teeth in it whatsoever. And I felt like we looked like fools, because who's not going to pay $250 for doing that? And I felt like it was a more egregious offense than the way it had been handled. So I asked the board to look at it and they agreed.
So is the fourth offense a termination by default, no questions asked, or is that at the discretion of the beer
It's a
board?
termination. It's a termination. I mean, if we're going to have a law, there's got to be
Yeah,
a
I think it's
consequence
fair.
for breaking the law. And
Yeah.
there was no consequence. $250 is not, it's nothing.
So it's $500.
And third, on second offense, it's second offense, I'm sorry, I don't have that pulled up. Second offense
Oh,
is
is it on here? I didn't
It's
say that.
$500 for
in
the
30-day suspension of
Yeah.
the privilege.
Yeah.
So, my only question about that, and I apologize for not bringing this up, I had the thought. And Chief Mosley, are there citations issued at that time?
Yes.
So the question would be to me would that be an immediate suspension at the time of citation because they're done? So where does that adjudicated? It's not adjudicated in that boardroom down there because that's not a legal proceeding per se.
You mean here?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir. In our beer board meeting.
It is a quasi judicial proceeding. You can assess fines up to $2,500 and suspend or revoke a license.
But I think what he's asking is if somebody commits the second, third, or fourth infraction, at what point does that suspension or termination begin? When they're
Correct.
issued the citation, or does the board have to convene?
I think the board would have to convene here the evidence and make its determination like any other
Okay.
quasi judicial proceeding.
Well, then I would ask that's great, but I would ask you, Mr. Pirtle, if you wouldn't mind to dig into that a little bit and see if we don't need to alter our procedures a little bit since we're talking about a significant, at least on second offense.
Yeah.
It would be a significant
Yeah.
financial penalty to the lawbreaker.
The state Alcoholic Beverage Commission provides guidance and what you can and can't do, and I'll be happy to share that with
Thank
the
you.
entire board.
Thank
But
you.
I
That way we
can't-
do it right.
But I can't cite them till they've been to the courthouse.
Okay.
I can't bring them in.
I got
until-
Okay, so that's really the answer that I was looking
Yeah,
for.
I
Is
can't.
so they'll go over there and they'll be found guilty over there. And then we come here for city administration of the breaking of the ordinance. That was my question. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Any further questions or comments regarding resolution number 2217? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote.
Deidre Dunlap,
Aye.
Rachel Kirby,
Yes.
Steve Harvey,
Yes.
Stacy Harvey,
Aye.
Carrie Morton.
Yes.
Matt Chastain.
Aye, motion passes. Item 9C is resolution number 2218, a resolution of the city of McMinnville to enter into a purchase and sales agreement with Jimmy Potter and to subject to a survey substantially in the form of an agreement attached to this resolution as Exhibit 1 to authorize the mayor to sign all required documents and the recorder to attest the same and to set the time that this resolution becomes effective. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Carrie Morton,
Second.
second by Ms. Deidre Dunlap. Yeah.
So the property that is located at 206 Potter Lane is proposed to be acquired for the purposes of stormwater management. The property is located next to another property that we've recently acquired at the end of the street on Potter Lane. 206 Potter Lane has a long history of flooding during heavy rainfall events. Acquisition of 206 Potter Lane will allow us to design and implement an even more effective stormwater structure to address the stormwater issues in the area. So we feel like that's an ideal location to grab the stormwater that's coming from upstream and heading downstream and causing flooding issues in that area. So we have the 160 in the budget. I think it's actually 170 under the general fund capital projects budget. So
Where are we with the concept of the stormwater management over there in terms of?
the design of the
Mhm.
facility itself, I would have to check in with Lyndon on that. Carrie, do you know?
I don't know exactly what their determination is. I do know that he is filled out for some grants that would help tremendously over there in that area and some other areas as well. He's been working with the University of Tennessee. I know that. They've just kind of been getting some ideas, nothing actually put to paper yet.
Gotcha.
I think we'll see progress after we close on this property.
Sure.
So
Any other questions or comments?
One point,
Yes, sir.
the purchase and sales agreement, which you signed before we started the meeting. had already been authorized by the board to accept the offer of the owner of the property at the asking price is 160. Even.
Okay,
There is a buyer agent fee. The board authorized us to use Tommy Foster as the board's buying agent, and will owe Tommy Foster a 6% commission on purchase price. I just wanted to make full disclosure because I didn't see it in the purchase and sales agreement.
okay. All right, thank you. Any other questions or comments regarding this resolution? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote.
Rachel Kirby,
Yes.
Steve Harvey,
Yes.
Stacy Harvey,
Aye.
Carrie Morton,
Yes,
Deidre Dunlap,
Aye.
Mayor Chastain.
Aye, motion passes. Item 10 is ordinances. Item 10A is ordinance number 1861, an ordinance of the city of McMinnville to repeal in its entirety an ordinance of the city to adopt a procedures plan pertaining to the public notice of all business being considered by the city board and the time frame for committee and full board consideration as such business, to adopt a new public notice and agenda policy, and to set the time when this ordinance shall become effective. This is the second and final reading. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Steve Harvey,
Second.
second by Miss Rachel Kirby. Since the last meeting, Mr. Ming brought some items to my attention that he felt should be added from the old policy into the new one, in addition to what we passed last time. Are those all in the agenda packets?
There's
Okay,
a revised.
They should be highlighted in
Yeah.
gray.
Yeah.
And also the change that Mr. Stacy Harvey made last time is added in there and highlighted in gray.
okay,
So those items, I failed to take from the old policy and adopt into the new policy. So I noticed that after the last meeting. I felt like they were important to include in that new policy.
has everybody had a chance to look over those?
I did.
Are any questions, concerns, comments?
the one thing that I saw and wondered about was it sounded to me like they can't address the board with any issue that's not on our agenda for that night.
That is correct.
Okay, so if there is like a problem that they feel like they need to have addressed, how are we ever going to get it on our agenda if it's not
Well, that's kind of
brought to our
like
attention?
Nolan talked about last time. Whenever they contact City Hall about it, if it's something with streets or public works, they can just be sent straight to whichever department it is, rather than waiting to come here. I mean, that really should be the proper channel anyway. And things could get done markedly faster than waiting to come to a meeting and telling us about it, and then that information getting disseminated down to whatever department is appropriate. So I think that would help expedite a lot of things if it just goes straight to the department rather than coming here and then down.
Same way as if they say did a great job.
Sure.
Okay. We'll let them come.
But I mean, that item was actually on the guidance that we got from the state, was, needed to be germane to what's on the agenda. I think we all aware of some of the stuff that we get up here that just pertains in no way, shape or form to the city government, even the county. And I think it's a way to kind of weed some of that out. Any other questions, comments? Well, I will entertain a motion to amend the proposed ordinance by including these items that Nolan included in our agenda packet.
So moved.
A motion by Mr. Stacy Harvey,
Second.
a second by Ms. Deidre Dunlap. So we will call roll on the amendment.
Stacy Harvey,
Aye.
Rachel Kirby,
Yes.
Carrie Morton,
Yes,
Steve Harvey,
Yes.
Mayor Chastain.
Aye. Motion passes. And now we will vote on ordinance number 1861 as amended.
Steve Harvey,
Yes.
Carrie Morton,
Yes,
Stacy Harvey,
Aye.
Deidre Dunlap,
Aye.
Mayor Chastain.
Aye, motion passes. Item 10B is ordinance number 1862, an ordinance of the city of McMinnville to declare certain property and real estate as surplus and to express the time when this ordinance shall become effective. This is the first reading. And the properties under consideration are 216 Beersheba Highway and an adjoining lot to Ramsey Park and River Drive, no address given. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Steve Harvey,
Second.
second by Mr. Stacy Harvey. Any comments, questions, or discussion on ordinance number 1862? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote.
Steve Harvey,
Yes.
Carrie Morton,
yes,
Rachel Kirby,
Yes.
Deidre Dunlap,
Aye.
Stacy Harvey,
Aye.
Mayor Chastain.
Aye, motion passes. Item 11 is departmental reports. Again, several department heads here this evening. If anyone wishes to address the board and give a departmental report, come on up. Chair recognizes Ricky Morton.
Just want to let you all know that tomorrow we'll be doing our annual river cleanup. The water department back several years ago adopted roughly 2 miles of river from riverfront down to the dam and from the dam down to Rocky Park. So anybody want, we're gonna have lunch, come out, let's come join us, 11:30, 12 o'clock. We'll get some pictures on the internet. I'll get you some pictures when we take out. So just want to let you know.
Thank you,
How
sir.
do you get it? You have 2 different crews. You go to the dam and then the rest of the
We
way?
do.
or- Okay. You'll have to.
Now, there'll be several from maintenance. Usually they want the deeper water. I get in, I like the shallow water. So, but we done this back, I think it was the first river cleanup. We were involved in it and adopted those 2 miles. So we usually, last year we picked too late. It was too cold, so they complained. So this time they won't complain about it being cold, right? So thank you.
Chair recognizes Justin Scott.
Thank you. I wanted to mention Park Theater this Friday. Boys in the Band, the Alabama Tribute. Show starts at 7:30. Just spoke to Joe before this meeting. He said the ticket sales broke 200 as of yesterday. He feels like it's going to be around 300 sold for the event for this Friday. And then we have at the farmers market Saturday, we have the farm to table event. It's from 6 to 8. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Main, do you have anything?
I just kind of want to give a shout out to employees that work outside. We have a lot of them and it's really hot. So thank you for being out there and doing everything that you do for the city. So stay cool, everyone. That's all I've got.
Mr. Purtle? Is there anything else to come before the board this evening? Hearing none, we'll stand adjourned. Thank you.